Rather than taking that income that I make from YouTube and squandering it on sitting in my backyard and doing nothing, I want you to know that I'm taking the money that I earn and I'm using it to give back to society. That's what excites me. So I'm not squandering the money I make so I can sit around and do nothing and enjoy passive income. I'm reinvesting it. Oh boy, it feels like we are right back to old school YouTube, where finance YouTube is now convinced that the best thing you could do in your life is think about passive income and retiring early and financial independence, the FIRE movement, and all these exciting ideas of living on a beach and never working another day in your life. And guess what? It's all bullshit. Here's exactly why I believe that. As desirable as that sounds, it's just not what humans like. Take a listen to this, and you'll maybe see a little bit more why, and I think by the end of the video, not only are you going to learn a lot of really cool things, but you'll see why I purposefully am not saving a dime this year. So, let's go back to the 1920s, when John Maynard Keynes suggested, hey, we believe that because of technology, we're going to end up seeing people become so productive in their lives that they'll only work 15 hours per week, but they'll actually have a wealth, a real income that is inflation adjusted, that's around 5 to 7 times as high as it is now. And guess what? Within the next 50 years, John Maynard Keynes was correct on one of these. We were actually, as a result of technology, substantially more well off. The standard of living had grown significantly. People were no longer living in dirty, nasty cities with 50% of all children dying before adulthood. We can now afford a car, live in suburbs, afford technology. Cities are somewhat cleaner, and most children actually survive to adulthood now thanks to healthcare and the technology we have that make us a lot more functional. So John Maynard Keynes was correct. We're a lot more of a functional and rich society today than what we were 100 or 150 years ago. In fact, 150 years ago, almost all of society solely worked in agriculture to put food on the table for society. Today, maybe only about 1 to 3% of society works in agriculture, putting food on the table. And that frees us up to work on other things that are more productive or useful in our lives, which is fantastic. It greatly increases what we are able to accomplish in our lives, and this is very exciting. We'll get to more of this later. But what's really incredible is that John Maynard Keynes was actually wrong about his other argument. This idea that humans would go from working around 40 hours a week, which has been true for the last about 1,000 years, and it would go down to 15 hours per week because of technology, was completely wrong. In fact, people continue to work, on average, 40 hours per week. The amount of time that people worked did not go down, despite a skyrocketing in the standard of living. This is incredible. Why would that be? Well, economists argue that this is because, just like a lack of money, when you just don't have enough to pay the bills, can lead to stress and depression. On the other hand, a lack of purpose and a lack of drive for success, or in other words, sloth, also leads to negative health effects and depression. Ben Franklin once famously said that a used key does not rust, but an unused key like sloth becomes incapable of functioning. It's fantastic, and I probably slightly butchered the quote because I pulled that one from memory, but I think it's really incredible because it goes to show that as humans, at least based on historical data and historical quotes, both data and anecdotes, that's important to note, data also shows this, people don't necessarily want to work less than 40 hours a week. In fact, what do really wealthy people do? Well, they end up retiring from their job, and then what do? They work on stuff they want to work on. Maybe that's a charity, a foundation, or writing a book, or a new startup. You usually don't see people completely disappear. And when you do, they tend to, I hate to say it, and this is not statistical, this is just sort of what I see, it seems to be when people actually officially retire and go towards doing literally nothing and have no purpose left, their body shuts down and they die. It's almost like the cells in our body are designed to turn us off when we are not being productive in society. It's kind of like there's a kill switch in here that's like, okay, you're no longer adding value to society, you're dead. I don't know. It's a suspicion that I have, and I think it's a suspicion why Warren Buffett still works to this day, because he realizes, hey, not only am I happy and fulfilled doing what I'm doing every day, even though, of course, one of the richest people in the world doesn't need to, but he does because it provides him fulfillment, and that actually keeps him alive. So, this, of course, leads to a lot of people saying, oh, but Kevin, I hate my job. I want to work less. And this may be true. We might want to work less at a job we hate. And that's the beauty that investing can bring you, such as investing in real estate, which can make you rich slowly, but much quicker. It could lead to a much quicker retirement from what you don't like, than any other investment. Now, this isn't to say that, okay, you've got to just invest in real estate, forget everything else, like stocks. I love stocks as well. And this really isn't an investing video. But the point of this video is to show you there's a lot of time in the day beyond work. Consider this for a moment, because a lot of people don't believe me when I say this. But a lot of people suggest it would be crazy to think that you have more time for family than you do for work when you work 40 hours per week. And that's because most of us haven't actually sat down and thought about how many hours there actually are in a week. There are 168. So what happens when you sleep 8 hours a day? Well, you're left with 112 hours in a week. Well, if you work 40 hours in a week, that actually leaves you with a lot of time for friends, family, and fun. It leaves you with 72 hours. If now you sleep 8 hours a day, and let's say you sound like a workaholic and you work 72 hours a week, well, you'd actually have 40 hours left for family and fun. Or quite frankly, another job if you wanted one. It's kind of incredible. In theory, you almost have enough time in your day for 2.5 jobs per week, which is remarkable. But what usually happens is we squander a lot of the time in our day, and so it doesn't feel like we actually have this much time. See, the right answer for many of us is probably somewhere in the middle. We could sleep 8 hours a day. We could play 55 hours a week, and we could work for 55-ish hours a week. That gives you about an extra 2 hours there with quick, simple math. Point is, there's actually a lot of time in the week. The problem is, we waste it. We waste it getting ready, dithering and planning about, standing at the water cooler, gotta get ready for that meeting, gotta get ready for work, gotta get ready for that commute, can't find my phone battery's dead, can't find my keys, gotta make the bed, gotta do the laundry. We waste time doing things that, quite frankly, we could systematize and simplify. I'll give you some examples. I've made refinements in my life that make sure I can maximize those 112, or in my case, probably closer to 130 hours a week that I have because I choose to sleep less than 8 hours a day. This has led to making a lot of refinements. We talk a lot about these refinements in the courses on building your wealth, but I'll give you a few examples here. Remember, those courses are linked down below. My office is a 55-second go-kart ride away. I really don't waste time on commuting. I literally take a go-kart at 23 miles per hour and I get there in 55 seconds. It's great. I also find that other people do the same thing. One of my hardest in-office workers lives a 2-minute commute away. My probably one of the next hardest working individuals I've ever seen is one of my pilots, and this guy's brilliant. He bought a place 3 minutes from the airport. Brilliant. Actually, I don't know if he bought. He might be renting. But either way, he's either renting or buying. But he can afford to do whatever he wants. But he got a place 3 minutes from the airport. Brilliant. Why waste your time on a commute? Another amazing employee of mine who works so incredibly hard did just buy a townhouse about 2 minutes away from our office and probably about 8 minutes away from our work sites, where usually he had to commute about 25 minutes to work. So eliminating that commute, really useful. Also, when I wake up, I like to have my dress shirt, my tie, my pants, everything's ready to go right there. Every single day, I can grab it on my way to coffee and I'm already ready to work. I'm not wasting time looking for laundry or trying to go through the closet because I've organized it in such a way that it's ready to go. Also, this might sound crazy, but I have 5 different workstations and they each make sure I'm most productive in each place I'm in. For example, I have this studio, which honestly, I don't like sitting here and doing research because it's not that comfortable to work in. It's really cold because I don't like sweating when I'm on video, and it's not the most ergonomical for doing research, but it's fantastic for filming. In fact, I really love this studio for filming. It's really, really good and very functional. I can do a lot of things with just the push of a button without moving my body at all. If I want to watch the bike show, I can do that right here. If I want to throw up my iPad, I can do that. I want to throw up what I'm doing on my computer, I can. Any of these things with the touch of a button without even moving. I can grab remotes from this drawer. I could grab other products that I need from this drawer. Whatever. I've got a coffee machine right there after all. Literally right here. I can push the on button on the coffee machine because I've tried to make my office as functional as possible. But I also have a second studio, which has its own functional purposes because who would dare want to have to go through another 55-second commute? But it actually is a different style of office. It's that office with a black screen where I could write on it. But I have a separate desk set up at that office as well as another quiet space that I'd like working in here, where this studio is. Not in this room, in a different room, but in that room I could sit down, I could listen to the birds chirp, and I usually do a research or accounting. It feels more like a warm, homey space that I could actually get functional, productive work done without being bothered by either other people or children or whatever. Then I have a fifth bag, or a fifth setup, I should say. All of these, by the way, have a computer, and a lot of them have a computer and an iPad ready to go. So yeah, I've multiplied the amount of devices I have, but that's because I don't want to take all of these devices and constantly be missing dongles or chargers. Oh, I lost the charger. Oh, I lost the dongle. Oh, I lost the security key. Oh, I lost. Why? I take that stress out of my life and I've just duplicated it. I make sure my phones are in the same place every single day. They're right here, standing in my little charging bays. That's where I keep them. When I go to sleep, I put one in the hall bathroom and one by the TV stand, and then I use my watch to wake myself up. So that way my watch wakes myself up, and then I have to turn those phones off before they wake up the family. And so I'm motivated to get out of bed. And then by the time I actually turn off both of those devices, surprise, surprise, I'm actually awake. It's these little refinements and tricks that prevent me from sleeping in when I'm not supposed to. But I also have a travel bag that is literally a duplicate of everything I have. How many times have you gone on a trip and be like, oh, I forgot a toothbrush, oh, I forgot a razor, oh, I forgot, hairspray or gel or deodorant or whatever. I basically never pack. That's because I have a box that has a duplicate of everything. It has a duplicate iPad, a duplicate computer, it has duplicate clothing, it has duplicate toiletries, it has its own toiletry bag. Everything that I would need to travel is in one box. So right now I could go on a 3-day vacation if I needed to, wearing what I got, grab the bag and go. That eliminates a lot of the junk that ordinarily you have to do in your daily lives. Now, of course, at some point, it's nice to get to the point where you're willing to spend money on a cleaner maybe once a week who does the laundry for you and cleans the house. But obviously, you've got to get your income to a point where you're comfortable doing that. Obviously, there's some chores that we have to do. For example, the other week, I had a debate with some individuals who were like, well, Kevin, I got to go to the grocery store. I need time for that. And I'm like, why? Get a Walmart Plus membership. It's literally free delivery for groceries. DoorDash, a little expensive. I agree with that. Unless you're getting Costco, then sometimes it's worth it because, they can go to Costco and deal with all those crazy lines over there, and you're still saving so much money to where it generally makes sense. But the point is, outsource some of this junk and focus on the things that matter, family and fun. Now, I want to get to the part of the video where I talk about how much I spend on everything. That's going to be really important. Spending is a big part of what I'm doing this year, and there's a reason for that, and I'm going to explain that. But I just want to be clear that my feeling of trying to have a place for everything and everything in its place extends to everything. I want tools to be in the same spot where they always belong. If I need a scissor, it needs to be in the same spot, otherwise I get frustrated. I have little remote control holders because I hate losing remote controls, so I put them where they belong. I don't like not knowing where a drill is or the drill bits are for it, so I have a rack that holds them, and it has a charging bay plugged into it, so it's always charged, it's always ready to go. It's the same for Nerf guns. I want the goggles on a hook so they're ready to go, so when I want to play, I can throw a goggle on and I know right now exactly where it is. I know where the Nerf bullets are and I know where the Nerf guns are because they're all on a hook in their own special place. It's these little things that have helped me get rid of so much wasted time in the week that allow me to spend more committed time with family and more committed time when I work. As a result, I get a lot more done because I'm not wasting time wondering why is my phone not charged or where is it? So, this is all very, very important. And it's quite literally all what I'm doing right now. But a lot of people wonder, Kevin, why are you spending all of your money in 2023? I mean, shouldn't you be focused on making money and then investing it so you could retire early? Well, I've actually resigned to the idea that I'm never going to retire. And I actually don't think that's a resignation. I've actually decided to just live as if I'm retired now, but still work on what I want to work on. That sounds crazy, but the way I do this is when I go travel with my family, I dedicate all my time to them. I live as if I'm retired. But when I'm in that at-home period, I do what I want to do, which is make my YouTube videos or grow my startups. Because if I'm retired in the future, which I don't think I ever will be because I'm really happy doing what I'm doing, I've come to accept I'm going to be working 40 to 50 hours a week, whether I'm retired or not, which I know sounds crazy, but again, look at the people who 100% retire. They end up finding some kind of project to do. They just do something they want to do. I already have the freedom to do what I want to do. So I feel as though I'm retired in that sense. I get to do what I want to do. What I want to do is build these companies. If I want to go on a vacation to Canada for 10 days, I'll do that. In fact, that's what I'm going to do in about a week from now. I want to spend 4 days in Northern California with my family and just play Nerf guns at different parks with my family. I can do that. And I can do it at any point I want to. That is wonderful. But why then am I spending all my money? Am I spending it all on extravagant vacations, a bigger home, or Rolexes or watches? Hell no. I'm spending it all on either time with my family or businesses. And see, that's what I really enjoy. See, this year I expect to spend about $1 million just on my financial advisory business, investing into it so we can launch more ETF products following the great success of my first ETF. In fact, if you follow me, I'm heavily investing in my team around me. This year, I expect to take all of the interns that are working with me, all 6 of our in-house staff members that are working with me, and we're all going to become licensed financial advisors and Series 7 brokers. Right now, I'm a licensed financial advisor, but I'm going to bring them all up to the same level as me, and we're all going to become licensed securities brokers. And that's going to help us with our startup. I've never had an in-house attorney before, and I'm looking for an in-house attorney now, but I want to bring one in-house. So if you're someone who just passed the bar and you want a job, or you're an intern who's considering, hey, I don't have experience, but I'm interested, send an email to jobs@meetkevin.com. The biggest thing we're looking for right now is an in-house attorney because we've never had one before. And so we'd like to have someone in-house. That'd be kind of cool. You don't need any experience. You just need to have passed the bar. That's it, basically. Or the bar in your state because you could just pass it in our state. But you'd have to relocate. If you're going to work for me, you have to be in SoCal. So need not apply if you're asking to be remote. It's not going to happen. Then I finally teamed up with an amazing editor to help me edit travel videos when I interview people like Barbara Corcoran or Kevin O'Leary or Ron Paul. I just really have found I don't like editing, and so I either don't edit my videos or I give them to him. Then there's HouseHack, my real estate startup. This is a unique one because I'm so afraid to spend a dime of investor money that we've basically only spent money on securities attorneys for that company, an accountant, a marketer who handles like the website and the fundraise stuff, auditors, and a little bit of rental car money and a little bit of hotel money. That's it. That's basically all that company has spent money on. Oh, and there's also a programmer that works on some of the apps that we've got building for that. So that's exciting, but it's like a fraction of the money you would think that a company like a startup that's raised over $25 million would spend money on. We are making way more money just milking treasuries with the cash we have until we go buy real estate, which is fantastic. But I'm really afraid to spend other people's money. And so along that vein, I'm taking my media business and the income that it generates to pay for making me the best CEO possible. That is, I'm able to get where I need to be very quickly. I can get around very quickly. I can make sure I'm as efficient as possible in every business that I'm in. And my media business pays for that. So in other words, my media business pays for a plane that I bought so I can get around and invest in these businesses as best possible. Neither of my 2 startups, the financial advisory business or the real estate startup, neither of them have paid, the housing startup, HouseHack, neither of them have paid a dime towards my plane. Not a single dime. And I've been flying for these various different businesses over 200 hours already this year, and we'll probably double that by the end of the year. So we'll probably be flying somewhere around 400 to 500 hours this year. And I'll pay every dime of that, not my other businesses. And that's exactly what I love. I love being able, with a successful business and successful investments that I've made, reinvest into new businesses, because I'm convinced that I will never not have a project. But I feel so happy today because I don't need to do any of these. Nobody is forcing me to do any of these businesses. I'm legitimately excited about doing them. I wake up and I'm like, this is great. We're moving the ball forward with the housing startup. We've got our Reg A launch coming up, and then we're going to be buying soon after that, Q3, Q4. We just sent out all the stock certs, audited stock certs and warrants for all the existing investors already, and the next round is coming up. We're so excited for launching that. The stock hack business. Don't even get me started on some of the plans we have for this. You'll be hearing about them in the future, but it's going to be incredible. They're running 2 startups here. It's really, really fun. And it just gives me excitement to come and share it with you. So I could be retired today. I could be living off passive income and, playing with, I don't know, sitting in the backyard and soaking up the sun or something like that. But that doesn't give me as much excitement as these things give me excitement for. So yes, it is exciting to have the freedom to do what you want. But for me, that freedom isn't buying Rolexes or Lambos or a bigger house. I still live in the same 2,300 square foot house that has no driveway and is probably too small for us, especially since we're about to expect twins, which is really exciting. Knock on wood, that all works out. But I don't want a bigger house. I love the house. I love where we live. I don't want a Glambo. I don't care about that. I want to invest in my businesses. I want to invest in my team. I want to make it so that they can be as successful as possible. And they don't need to stay with me forever. I know that people will end up growing up and moving on or whatever. I mean, hopefully they stay with me for as long as possible because we've got some really cool irons in the fire that could be wildly profitable for everybody who's here. But I'm never going to be in a situation again where one person leaving can sandbag my companies. I had made that mistake in the past. It's never going to happen again. But I think the bottom line conclusion out of all of this is I've gotten to this point of acceptance. And it's not even like acceptance almost sounds like it's a bad thing. I've gotten to this realization that even if I retire, I'm going to work anyway. I'm just going to work on the things I want to work on. So now, when I spend time with family, I'm wholly present and wholly committed. This is my family time. And I segment that family time out. Nerf guns, go-karts, cyber quads, travel, whatever. That's dedicated family time. And I will be the best dad when it's time for dedicated family time. But when it's time for dedicated work time, I'm focused on dedicated work time. I'm not dithering between a commute or sitting around doing different things. And even when I'm commuting, so to speak, on my plane, I've set myself up so that I can get work done on the plane. We just bought Starlink for the plane, for example. That's going to like 10x our activity on productivity on the plane. But I have set myself up to make sure I'm capable of being productive even now while flying. But anything I can do to make sure I could spend more time being productive on my startups actually gives me substantial happiness, especially since then I could flip it over to dedicated family time. And so segmenting these and being fully committed that my version of retirement is being able to go on a 10-day vacation with my family, still get the minimal work done that I would have to get done, but then spend dedicated time with the family. That's exciting to me. As well as, hey, if I'm in retirement, I want to take the knowledge that I've built and do something with it. Like I want to give back, whether it's a startup or in the future, maybe it's a nonprofit or whatever. I want to give back and I want to grow the people around me, the team members around me. I want to elevate them. I want to elevate the productivity we can share with society, the value we can provide to society. That gives me great happiness. And so, yeah, I mean, right now my burn is probably about $12,000 a day, which is pretty insane. Burning $12,000 a day. I'm probably way undercharging my real estate startup and my my stock startup, but I am so afraid of spending other people's money. It's like, no, I'll pay it. Oh, that's on me. I gotta normalize that a little bit because I'm a little extreme right now. But honestly, I'm not worried about the small dollar because I'm so optimistic about the future of these businesses that I'm investing in and the value that I can provide to them. So I don't know, maybe I'm just like kind of giddy right now and like knock on wood, I don't want anything to go wrong and I hope it doesn't. Like I feel so grateful. Everybody seems happy, healthy, kids are great. We get twins on the way again, knock on wood. Like so many bad things can happen in our lives, right? But I'm so grateful and I have to give a huge thanks to all of you because it's enabled me to be in this place. But I want you to know, if there's one thing that's different about me than maybe somebody else, is that I'm not taking the money that I make because you're so generous with your time to watch my videos and hopefully you get value out of them, and that helps me make an income. But rather than taking that income that I make from YouTube and squandering it on sitting in my backyard and doing nothing, I want you to know that I'm taking the money that I earn and I'm using it to give back to society by building startups that are going to make financial advice more attainable to people with artificial intelligence, that are going to make housing and rental properties a higher quality product. And I'm going to give back to society. That's what excites me. So I'm not squandering the money I make so I can sit around and do nothing and enjoy passive income. I'm reinvesting it into the people who work for me, the employees around me, or really the beneficiaries of the companies we're starting. So we're not slowing down. We're going full steam ahead. And if that means I have to take every dime I make this year and reinvest it, then so be it, because that gives me great happiness. Now, I want you to know this: when it comes to AI, time is what's going to make you money. And if you can prove that value to an employer, you'll always be able to be employed. So this is another way of making sure that you don't get replaced by